So they just wanted to. Let's do
Good evening and welcome to the Lopatcong Township Planning Board meeting of April 2022. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order and invite you to join us in a silent moment of prayer, followed immediately by the oath of allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'm required to state that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Beth, may I have a roll call, please?
Yeah, I just want to correct that. It's the Star Ledger, not the Gazette. That's my error.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Present members Kleiner, Boyle,
Here.
DeLeo,
Here.
Polito,
Here.
Sazanov, Weeks, Mayor Manducci,
Here.
Vice Chairman Sampson,
Here.
Chairman Bender.
Here. Okay, moving on to old business. Has everyone received a copy of the minutes of March 23rd, 2022 meeting? Are there any questions, comments? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So be it.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Minutes will stand as published. All right, our first order of old business is Jessamine Minor Subdivision, Block 65, Lot 5, minor subdivision with variances, and this is a completeness hearing. So is the applicant here?
No, to Mr. Jessamine, I'm Ryan Dornish on behalf of him.
Okay.
So, as to Lot 5, I did amend the initial application as per Mr. Ritter and Mr. Wisniewski's instructions, and hopefully everything is complete and satisfactory for you to approve everything for Lot 5. And then I also did get a letter just the other day for Lot 3 with some things that have to be revised, hopefully to be put on your next meeting. I'll be able to make those corrections and get everything set for your next meeting on that.
Okay. I'll go to Adam, and you, on your technical report.
Sure, of course. Yeah, so to speak to the application for Lot 5, Mr. Jessamine had submitted an amended application to include the proposed development of the lot that was going to be created as part of the application. So I completed kind of a second completeness review on the amended application, and all of the waivers and or items that are not applicable to the application are the same as was previously reviewed by the board at their December meeting. So I guess the first step here would be to deem this amended application complete. And I believe that, unless the board members have any questions specific to any of the items, I believe that that could be done as well, so that the application could be considered for a hearing for the variances that are being requested.
Okay. George, do you have any comment on it?
On completeness, no.
Okay. Board have any questions on this? In that case, I'll entertain a motion to deem the application complete. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Beth, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Members Boyle,
Yes.
DeLeo,
Yes.
Polito,
Yes.
Mayor Manducci,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Sampson,
Yes.
Chairman Bender.
Yes. Okay. No.
His application.
Okay. Now concerning the next lot, you're,
Oh, well, the hearing on this.
For the hearing on Lot 5.
lot 5.
Correct.
See,
All right, so Mr. Jessamine intends to subdivide the lot, and then he intends to erect a residential structure. I believe that you have the plans from both Van Cleef and the surveyor, which has everything that he intends to do on there. And I'd open it up to any questions as far as the hearing is concerned.
You have testimony from the person who put together the subdivision and as to the variances?
I do not, and Mr. Jessamine doesn't appear to be here. As far as the variances are concerned, I know that there are no streams or wetlands in the area, so that should be not applicable. And it's a relatively flat lot. Beyond that, I don't have anybody else here to provide any testimony.
Who's here?
Mr. Jessamine is here. There he is. Come on up here, Annual.
Hi.
All right, does he need to be sworn in?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a cold for 4 months, and it left me with bronchitis. That's all right.
why don't we let him
It
sit?
left me with bronchitis for breathing.
You want me to hold that for you?
That's okay.
Mr. Jessamine, would you like to take a sit?
Chair.
Why don't you go all the way up to the table so you can put this on the table?
You're so good.
Okay,
Take your time.
so Annual, they're gonna swear you in, they're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
swear you
fine.
in,
Take your
and they're
time,
gonna
take
ask
your
you
breath.
some questions about your application, all right?
Can I give me 1 second? Walking from there to there, get so bad.
Yeah. Dragging you out.
Yeah, where's the hell? Shoot. Cold for 4 months. It left me with bronchitis.
Still doing great for his early 90s though, right?
Yeah.
Is my nephew here, Don?
Yep.
I told him to come over.
Okay.
I hired him as my supervisor.
Oh, good.
Don doesn't. Yeah.
So Annual, do you need Don to give testimony too?
Uh-huh.
Do you need Don to give any testimony?
Yeah, he does. He's
All
brother
right, Don,
supervisor.
come on up.
I sit in the car and I just hired subcontractors and I just put in the job.
That's the way to do it, right? You pay the bill and you hire us? Great.
Okay,
Okay.
you hear Don?
We should swear in.
All
We're
right.
gonna have to swear him in. I don't know what he's gonna be qualified to testify. Sir, why don't we have you raise, are you calling a witness, counsel?
Yes, the applicant.
Yeah.
The other gentleman also?
All right.
Well, let's just. All right, Mr. Jessamine, could you please raise your right hand?
What?
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Okay. The record will reflect that the witness said yes and nodded his head.
I got hearing aids and then I didn't charge, they didn't charge to pick them up today. So they ain't working. Everything's going wrong.
At least you're here.
Yeah, 91. 92. Anyway, come over here. Come over here. Huh? All right, okay.
All right, so Annual, we're talking about Lot 5.
Yeah, 5 is the one that on the corner, correct? Yeah,
Okay,
at the corner of our property. That's already, all we have is a line adjustment there. And then we have a lot on Lot 5. And the second street is already, should be approved. And that was done. I got the footing done on the other lot, you know. on one lot.
All right, so annual, so for lot 5, what do you intend to do on lot
I'm
5?
gonna put a house there.
Put a house there?
Same, I'm putting 3 houses the same, but I'm changing the front a little bit. Like I did over Mountain View Terrace, where I built the 10 houses. I changed the front a little bit.
And annual, you're a licensed contractor in New Jersey,
I
right?
am a licensed contractor. And
How many years experience?
electrical.
How many years experience in contracting?
I started in 1946.
Okay.
We built Huffchild's house, Dan Huff. Liquor store, we built his house. Back then. So I built about 300 houses. And I built at least 100 houses in Lopatcong. I built the one next across the church.
Does the board have
All white-
questions for
all
Mr.
white brick.
Jessamine?
All white brick from the church on the Belvedere Road. I built that one too, from scratch. I built
Appears
everything
he's-
from scratch.
Appears he's creating an undersized lot
Yes.
on one of these. Now, why are we doing that?
Okay, so Leonard, why are you creating one buildable lot and one undersized lot? What's the reason for that?
No, I made one 85 feet, and one 90 foot. The corner I made 90 foot, and the one I made 85. It was 70 foot. I was gonna give this property to my grandson, but he didn't want to.
I think you're talking about the other lot now.
Which one, second?
I think you're talking about lot 3, 'cause that's the one you were given to your nephew. We're talking about the other lot
Well,
now.
that one there, but I saw, all we did is put a line adjustment, and we're putting a house on that corner property. That's 90 foot.
But you're creating another lot that's
Yeah,
undersized.
there's 2 lots there. It's 190 feet. It's 100 and,
So they want to know why you're creating one smaller than the other.
well, I figure one's 85, minimum is 70 feet, so I go with the other. Why, you want me to split it? No, I don't
Well,
want to split it,
I
I want one lot
I'd like to
bigger.
have some
The corner-
testimony of
the
why
corner
you,
lot- Yeah, the corner lot, you need 25-foot setback. You know what I mean, all the way around. So that's why I gave another 5 feet, you know.
let me go to
You
the
know what I'm
back on
saying?
this one.
See, the setback from the curb back is every 25 feet.
On the corner lot, you need bigger,
Sir,
bigger
hold.
space.
We need a bigger space. That's the reason.
Counsel, do you have anybody that's going to be testifying as to the actual lots that is going to be set forth on the plat and actually provide testimony towards the variances?
I do not.
It may be beneficial before that the board renders any type of opinion as to this, to consider strenuously bringing in either Mr. Tashura's
Okay.
or.
I didn't know they were necessary, but.
Well, there is
that's fine.
variance relief that's being sought here, and on this particular application, with the variances being sought, you have to establish either a hardship or that the variance is going to promote the purposes of the municipal land use law, the detriments associated with same are not going to outweigh those benefits.
Okay.
And it's undersized lot creation, so it's a difficult case. And I certainly don't want to overstep my bounds, but it may be beneficial for your client to bring in an expert opinion that the board can rely on or utilize to evaluate whether or not this variance can be legitimately granted.
Okay.
I have a question. Isn't a buildable lot, 70 feet, a foot frontage, that's all you need? 70, all right?
You're in
What
the,
is the
You
lot?
need 9,000 square feet.
you need 9,000 square, you need 9,000 square feet as the minimum for a lot in this zone.
Yeah, because I took on Second Street, I took another 10 feet off of the 190 feet there on that house and added to that house. I made that house 70 foot, it was only like 65 feet.
You're talking frontages now, or?
Yeah, the frontage. That one on Second Street, we we're getting approval for.
I really don't like to be creating undersized lots to be around if someone wants to come and utilize that lot sometime. I think we're gonna need some testimony from the surveyor or the engineer.
Yeah, the survey just,
I don't understand.
the minor subdivision can be accomplished either through deeds or through a plat signed by a licensed surveyor. As to the competency of the testimony, well, you're gonna have a engineer that's gonna probably have to testify as to, why that lot is going to be able to accommodate the undersized nature. And you might even need a planner to talk about why that is actually going to justify a variance relief. Because certainly, I don't want to speak for the board, but it's difficult to see a hardship there.
So I'll have them both here next hearing. Okay. All right, so then the application is deemed complete. And we need to have another hearing where we have the experts.
That's right,
Pardon?
it's not right, the lot, 90 foot, you can't go 90 foot?
As long as you have the required amount of square footage on the lot,
Yeah,
it
but
fits into
that
the
goes
zone,
back.
but you're not,
That's a big lot. That corner lot's a big lot.
We're not talking about the corner
Corner
lot,
lot.
though. We're talking about lot 5.
5.
One on the subdivision.
The one that's already owned the corner lot you're talking about.
No.
No,
Which one are you talking about now?
the other one,
The-
not the one you were gonna give Brandon, the other one.
The other one has already got footing in, that's approved.
Yeah, they wanna know, when you subdivide it, one is gonna be smaller, one is gonna be
Yeah, one
bigger.
is 80 feet.
Yeah, and the board is concerned with that, so what they want is for us to bring the guy from Grand Cleef and your
I thought that was
surveyor.
approved last meeting, 70 feet.
No.
I thought you proved that 70 feet, I mean 80 feet. It was 70 feet, I made it, I got another 10 feet, I made it 80 feet. I made it 10 foot bigger. You want me to take more out? Well,
I'm not telling you what you have to do, but what we would like to see is the justification for creating an undersized lot.
I don't see a problem. I've been building a long time, we've been building on 65
Let me
foot lots.
ask the board a question. If in fact we revised it so that both lots were the same size, then would I still need expert, I mean, I would have to
You would
redo
need
the
a variance
application
for an
again.
undersized lot then.
You
We
would
would still,
need the
we would
variance.
still, okay. So then we're gonna need to bring the experts.
And they don't have to be the same size, they just, the lot that has a home on it can't be under 9,000 square feet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm trying
Because
to,
then you might sell that property, and then the person, anything anyone wants to do on that property would require variance.
Mhm.
So you're creating issues for a future owner
Gotcha.
by doing.
Okay. All right, so then as far as Lot 5 is concerned, we deemed it complete, but we can't finalize the application tonight without expert testimony.
we've been
So,
trying to get this thing since Christmas in here. Trying to get this property subdivided. It's been a long time, I'll lose the summer. I gotta put these houses up. You know, I gotta dig on Second Street, I gotta get them up. I mean, I can't keep going on month to month to month. I gotta get some answers here. You gotta think about it. I mean, I've been around a long time. I built a lot of houses in Lopatcong. You know, I mean, I don't know, you're a new board, I don't know, I have no problem. Years ago, my brother used to be an inspector years ago. $5 used to get a permit, to build. Today, it's a big story here. You know, I need to get these lots, I gotta dig, I got the excavators there, I got one foundation for it, I gotta get.
You're telling me you've already started construction on these lots?
Huh?
You're telling me you've already started construction on these
I
lots?
didn't start this house yet.
Not on lot
I
5.
didn't start on the other
On
one.
lot 3.
Three?
One lot I started, on one building lot. I have approval for that.
Yes.
You know, I need to get the approval, the one for the corner and Second Street. Second Street, I got that house, told that she rents it, she wants to buy it. I said, I can't sell it to you till I get it the lot, get the lot off of it. I mean, I buy houses, lots, and try to subdivide the lot and build houses and create lots. There's no more property around. I mean, you understand that, So whatever you guys can do, I really appreciate if you can really help me out. Because I'm really in bad shape here. Because I can't move. The guy wants to pour 3 footings at one time. I have one. We want to get the one on Second Street. I need to get the footings in there. I need to get the footings in the other, so I get the walls up. I won't put the house up. Let me get the walls up. You know what I'm saying?
Lenny,
You know what I mean?
we need the surveyor to come give the board
We
testimony.
have a survey.
I know we have a survey, but they need his testimony.
That's the second
You gotta help me out here.
split this and build
I was already for some material.
That's the second application.
And gone through, I want to get these houses done.
Yeah.
So it should be a quick subdivision. But that's
It's
only
gonna
on
be
complete.
three reinforcements next
That
time.
was for lot 3.
That's lot 3.
Yeah.
Lot 5, he wants to
You
build.
gotta help me out.
This is what's going on lot 5. But this lot is undersized. Proposed
small.
undersubdivided. So if he slides
So
the
we're
property
use an
line
expert
over,
to explain.
makes this
why
9,000
it's
square
too
feet,
small.
and this can be whatever it is
Within
within
the-
the remainder.
He could say
As long as
but
it's
we're not
9,000 square feet. And it will be.
And then variance goes over.
Correct.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Well, that's what we said in our.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
so
right.
we will have to reschedule lot 5 again, and on to lot 3. Is that able to be deemed?
Hold on a second.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Before we move on to lot 3,
Okay.
which is a separate completeness hearing tonight, I assume that you want to ask the board for an adjournment of lot 5.
Yes,
Then it will be up to the board to make a motion to allow to adjourn the Jessamine minor subdivision block 65 lot 5, minor subdivision with variances to the May meeting without further notice,
It's May 25th.
which would be, I think Adam is right, May 25th. So that would be up to you if you want to make that motion.
Okay, Fabio, you heard Mr. Bryce's explanation, and we're having a continuance on this application. We'll adjourn it for tonight, continue it to the May 25th, is it?
25th.
Correct.
Meeting, and at that time, you'll have the testimony, or you'll be moving the lot line over to create 2
Yes, so
standard
I'm
lots.
going to discuss everything with the 2 experts, probably tomorrow, and figure out how we're going to.
And you won't have to continue, you won't have to notice. We'll
Okay,
make that a condition, and
thank you.
the notice continues.
When you're done.
Do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Beth, roll call, please.
Members Coyle,
Yes.
Korea,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Sampson.
Yes.
Chairman Bender.
Yes.
I have one question, please.
And hold on, Mr. Jessamine.
Hold on.
For anyone in the public that's here tonight on block 65, lot 5, the Jessamine minor subdivision with variances, that matter is going to now be carried to May 25th in this room, 7 PM. No further notice is going to be required as to that matter.
Thank you for that.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, now we need a motion for block 3, right?
Yep.
All right, for the matter of completeness on lot 3, I have a motion to approve the,
I'll make that motion.
do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Beth, roll call, please.
Yes, members Coyle,
Yes.
Leo.
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Sampson.
Yes.
Chairman Bender.
Yes. Jessamine?
Yeah, my question is, it's hard to get people with excavators to come in and to dig a one. I want to dig and put the footings in. We won't put a house on, I need to get the footings in, okay? If that's okay with you guys,
We don't grant that permission. We would normally say that you can't start construction until you have an approved lot.
Yeah, but
So
I mean,
you're taking the chance on not getting an approval on this, at which time you will be
I know, but-
required to take
now,
out whatever you did.
What about Second Street? So the lot is done, and now, it wasn't approved last month?
No,
What did you approve last month?
we didn't approve anything.
Nothing.
Well, I thought the house, that on Second Street, we can go ahead and do that one. That's not ready either? What do we need on Second Street?
You're subdividing both, right? You're
Well, that's
subdividing.
good, we're getting a house and off the property.
See, like,
That's what you're doing.
you got it put together as one big lot, the one you were gonna give Brandon, so he could put a house
Yeah,
on.
that's.
If you just wanted to leave it that way, you could build on it, I mean, you could, because it's already done. But now you're breaking it back apart.
I have approval from John Fritz, and I had approval, we can build one house,
On the original lot,
huh,
on the original lot.
on one lot.
Yes, now you
I have
don't,
the approval
now you're
for
breaking that lot up.
I have the okay
Yeah, but now you're dividing that lot, so now you don't have approval, so
for
you're,
the other lot.
no, but you're splitting this one apart too.
Well, this one here had a house on, that's the one we went for 2 months now. What's going on with that? Why can't we get that one line adjustment done?
Because
It's an undersized
Why?
lot.
Are you negative behind?
you're trying to divide these lots.
No, we've
Split them
got two
apart.
separate lots.
I know
Yes.
that,
We have Second Street and we got Third Street.
right, lot 3 and lot 5. You're
Right.
subdividing both of them. We put applications into the board to subdivide them. So until the board finally approves everything, that the subdivisions are done, you can't
So
build
when is-
anything.
When is Second Street gonna be approved?
Well-
When you,
What's the matter with that one?
Hopefully on
when you
May
get through
25th.
this
What do you
board.
gotta do?
Hopefully on May 25th.
That's next month.
Yes,
I can't do nothing.
Right.
basically, yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
I understand
I
that
mean, it's-
scheduling is a
it's-
problem,
it's-
but
Christmas, we've been in this township, every month, and you got something different. Give us one thing at one time, so he can do his job and get it done. And that's what I pay you for, to get it done.
I know,
well,
well,
I think we've been more than cooperative with
All
your
right.
attorney in order to do this.
I mean, we
And-
don't wanna be here every month. Or it will be summertime, it'll be wintertime by the time I build. I gotta get it done. I
You
gotta get the
understand,
foundation.
by continuing to build on that lot, on the subdivided lot, you are in danger of this board turning you down for that, and you would be responsible for taking everything out that you built.
But no, I'm saying, we have approval for one lot. That's
lot
approved
3.
already.
Yes,
That one's okay.
but you're telling us you want to divide that lot.
Yeah, well, sure, we went for
To
subdivision.
build a second house. That's the application
We
for
told
lot
you
3.
that?
For building
Months
the
ago.
second house. Is
Right.
he starting construction on
but
it?
right now, you've got one big lot.
Did Schrader give you paperwork? All the
Yes,
paperwork from Schrader?
yes, and
All
they
I do
have,
is pay. I must pay $50,000 already in permits, and between people here, there. But I don't mind paying. I'll pay everything that it takes. All I want is get this thing done. You guys have got a lot of stuff on your shoulders. I realize that. You do a good job up here. Oh, you gotta help me out. You gotta give a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
All right, counsel, I
I
think,
need to get this
Council,
done.
yeah,
all right.
You
Lenny.
follow me?
Lenny, we gotta move on to the next
All right,
part.
well,
We're moving
that's
on.
my point.
Thank you. You got this?
Stay there.
No,
We
you're
gotta-
good.
you're good, you can stay there.
All right?
You're good to go.
Do we have to do anything with the lot 3?
Yes, you are deemed complete, counsel.
Okay, thank you. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Don, you better get that. Become well equipped.
Yeah.
Walk slow this time, okay?
You ready,
Don't
Lenny?
run.
We're ready? I thank you guys very much.
Take care.
Quite welcome.
Appreciate-
Have a good night.
I appreciate whatever you can do.
We'll try to get it through as fast as
Yeah,
we
because
can.
I need Forget it, Doug.
I understand.
You go. You're gonna get old one day.
I'm already there.
I'm 91, I'm gonna be 92.
Well,
I gotta get it done. I appreciate it, thank you.
All right, take care.
have a good day.
Good night.
Good?
None of it.
All right, our next order of business is NFI Real Estate LLC, preliminary major site plan application with bulk variance relief for 188 Stryker Road, Block 99, lots 3.01 and number 6. This is a continuation of the hearing. Mr. Peck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Mark Peck. I'm an attorney with the Florio Prucci Law Firm, here on behalf of the applicant, NFI Real Estate LLC. As the chairman indicated, we're here to continue our hearing, which began May 26 and continued on September 22nd of last year. Due to various developments thereafter, it's been delayed until tonight. We have amended our application. We're now, importantly, we're now only seeking preliminary major site plan approval. We are not seeking final approval at this time. And again, we're seeking bulk variance relief, a couple less variances than before. The board did raise some site questions at our earlier two hearings, primarily relating to sewer and to buffers, some other things, and some of which were related to the pending bridge development next door, which has since been approved. To address these board and public questions and concerns, and also to offer the best possible plan, NFI has purchased the Berry Plastics site, Lot 2, and incorporated this into the site plan. And because of the time that's elapsed since we were last together, just to refresh the board, we are seeking to construct a 592,800 square foot warehouse, which would include 17,500 square feet of office space with associated improvements. The warehouse itself would be situated on lot 3.01. Access would be via lot 2. Lot 6, which was originally the proposed access by way of a 50-foot easement to Stryker's Road, that's no longer part of the plan. It is in the ROM zone district where it is a permitted use. Lot 3.01 itself is a landlocked 46.75 acre parcel. And largely as a consequence of that landlocked status, we do require a few C1 variances, for hardship. The first is from section 243-63D, which requires lot frontage on a public street. Being a landlocked parcel, this lacks that. And also from section 243-75E, where at least 300 feet of street frontage are required. Again, this landlocked parcel has no frontage. Mr. Ritter's also raised a variance from section 243-75D2, which has to do with the 25-foot landscape buffer, but our engineer will discuss that. And there's also some design waivers that we're seeking from section 243-46 C1B. That has to do with the width of the driveway apron. Township ordinance limits that to 40 feet. We're seeking 143.7 feet. From section 243-48B5, which is the sidewalk requirement, internal sidewalks. Section 243-48B6A and B, which has to do with the requirement for the 30-foot minimum fire aisles. Ours are proposed to be 24 feet, and there's also employee parking proposed adjacent to the front facade of the building. And finally, from section 243-48B7A, which has to do with the maximum grade of the driveway. Our driveway apron in the vicinity of Stryker's and the driveway there slightly exceeds that slope. So anyway, at the earlier hearings, we had our site engineer, Kyle McKenna, our traffic engineer, John Witchner, and our planner, Andrew Janu, testify. Kyle and John are with us tonight, as is Mr. Janu's colleague, Barbara Erin. The plan tonight is that Mr. McKenna will testify. He'll give, again, because of the time that's elapsed, just a very brief overview of his prior testimony as regards to Lot .301, but he'll really focus on Lot 2, the newly acquired lot, its existing and proposed conditions, and he'll also go and testify as to the current state of the buffering proposal, lighting, stormwater management, and sewers. Mr. Witchner will offer updated testimony based on the addition of Lot 2 to the plan, and Ms. Aylen will again review the proofs to the variances. Mr. Janu already testified about the variances. They haven't changed. We've lost a few, but she'll just again go over the positive and negative criteria. And of course, our professionals will be available to answer any questions. So without any further ado, I'd like to call my first witness, who has been previously sworn and accepted as an expert. Yes, sir.
Mr. Peck, sorry to interrupt again, but I'm going to recuse myself. So.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Good night, everyone.
Would you like to, you're comfortable from there, or do you want to come up on top?
Good night, everyone.
Mr. Peck, before you call your first witness, there is that issue that you and I did discuss earlier, just for the benefit of the record. You were provided a certified list of owners by the township's tax assessor. That list, certainly you relied on in good faith. It's notable that that list is kind of obviously deficient.
Yeah, that's what I've been advised.
So I do realize and I recognize, and I think that the board recognizes that there is a statute, I think it's 4055D12.
Subsection C.
Subsection C, that does indicate that, and I don't have, well, you know what, let me take a look and read it verbatim.
I can. It says, in pertinent part, the applicant shall be entitled to rely upon the information contained in such list, and failure to give notice to any owner, to any public utility, et cetera, not on the list shall not invalidate any hearing or proceeding.
So I think that that is some fairly clear authority. What my concern, though, is that there is somewhat of a known defect at this point in time. That is not your creation. That is the creation of the township through the incomplete list. And I just don't know if you're inclined to proceed with that at this point in time, given that there may be a challenge to the notice despite what that particular statute says, by virtue of the fact that now we know that the notice was incomplete.
Well,
and while it says that, and only in this regard, I think that it says that the hearing or proceeding will not be invalidated, which kind of implies that it may be a discovery after the fact. And I'm not sure if I've not found any case law that addresses it, frankly, about when a notice defect is actually discovered before the fact.
Perhaps we're searching for problems that don't exist.
Yeah.
Because I have two responses to that, and as to why I don't think this is an issue at all. And I understand it's your job to look for any possible landmine to protect the interests of the board. But in addition to our statutory reliance, there's sort of the equitable argument that the residents are well aware of this. I didn't see the room clear out after the last application concluded. And if the chairman would ask for a show of hands as to how many people in the audience reside at Overlook, I suspect there'd be quite a few number of hands up. And I also would guarantee, since I've been at the meetings too, every meeting I've been to that's addressed this, council or planning board, there have been people, residents from Overlook at those meetings. Further, I would draw Mr. Bryce's attention to the case of Pond Run Watershed versus Hamilton Township Zoning Board of Adjustment. That's at 397 NJ Super 335. It's a 2008 appellate division case that reaffirmed that new notices are not required to advise that an application has been adjourned or will be carried over to another meeting. The statute requires initial notice only. And the court there had held that no new notice is required if the board announces on the record the adjournment to a future date certain, noting that, quote, members of the public have an obligation to attend the first meeting or otherwise stay abreast of the status of the application, end quote. And that also cites with approval Kramer versus Board of Adjustment of Seeger, which is a well-known Supreme Court case from 1965. So again, we provided notice back for the initial May 2021 hearing. We provided notice for this just really as a courtesy, as a, belt and suspenders type thing, just because so much time had elapsed. But the record is clear that the chairman has carried the hearing, to date every month, because I've been here every month, and we've gone through this exercise. So with all that said, we're very comfortable proceeding. If somebody wishes to spend their time and their money challenging this point, I'm always looking for things to do. So.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Your original notice,
Yes, sir.
did that include the Overlook development?
It did not include Lot 2.
Not, Lot 2 is the Berry plat.
That is the very plastic
But I
side.
mean, the original application, the notice was okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Again, we're very comfortable. We don't think this is an issue at all. Mr. Bryce raised a question, he was obligated to, and I can appreciate that. I serve in his capacity in other municipalities, so I get that. But again, we're comfortable. The law's on our side.
Okay. I would be inclined to do the board's decision.
It is the board's decision as to whether or not it assumes jurisdiction based upon the notice provided.
Well, I'll leave it to the board. Do we have any questions, or?
You can even, I dare say this, but just as a matter of fairness, it's kind of like a sub-hearing. You could open it up to the public to hear what the public has to say about the notice.
Okay.
I don't think it's a matter of public debate. I think it's a question of law.
The board, I think, has an obligation not just to the applicant, but also to the public, to let them be heard.
It's the board's prerogative to run its meeting as it sees fit.
And at the end of that, make a determination as to the jurisdictional issue.
I will yield the podium.
Is there a spokesperson for the Overlook community?
Or anybody in the public.
Good evening. Jim Belsky, Deer Haven Terrace, Overlook. Just want to go back to a comment Mr. Peck made. You made mention that the public was well aware of this application. How? How is the public well aware if the notice wasn't given?
May I?
Certainly.
You're allowed to respond, you don't have to.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would just suggest that the Overlook Association was left off the last notice, which we weren't obligated to give. The Overlook Association was noticed for the initial May hearing. There have been residents from Overlook here. It's certainly been an active subject on social media and in the town. There's plenty of people who I recognize who've been at all of the same meetings that I've been at. So I feel very comfortable, and I'm very comfortable that the minutes and the records of these meetings will show that people from Overlook have been present at these meetings. So from that, I make the conclusion that the public was in fact well aware.
So I would present to the board, receiving a legal notice is much different than going to social media or talking about it at the pool. Not receiving a legal notice and knowing that the residents did not receive the legal notice is much different than just assuming everybody's aware. It's hard to keep track, honestly, of all the warehouses, right? There's a lot of them going up. But we have, Overlook in particular, 2 warehouses that are going up. One of them, notice was not even received. And we're here tonight with a hearing knowing that residents were not legally noticed or informed of this hearing. And to dismiss it as it's on social media
Excuse me if I may, that's not my point. That was one of several points. The main point is that we provided valid notice per the statute and per case law for the first hearing. And as the Supreme Court of the state of New Jersey has held, once that first notice is given, we're done. And we're entitled to rely on the list that we were given. And it's the obligation then of the public, once that first notice is given, to keep itself informed. That's not from me, that's from the Supreme Court.
This is not what we're talking about today. We're talking about this hearing today,
That's absolutely correct.
about NFI.
However,
And
we've heard the statute read.
and acknowledge,
That if it's an oversight and it wasn't noticed, it's not a cause for not having the hearing.
the board
That's
does,
what I'm basing it on.
the board does have the ability to require that notice.
That's why I questioned Mr. Peck on the fact that you were noticed on the original application.
And
And that, in the conclusion, that comes to the point where you were noticed, you've been, by your presence here at most of the meetings, all of the meetings that we had anything to discuss with there, you were here.
this is me. This is the residents here. But the residents that aren't here, that could be sitting at home, not knowing what's going on. And to be honest, I'm not aware of the first notice. I have to check it. I personally did not get a first notice of this at all. So I'm going to look into that separately.
Look into that separately.
Correct.
I believe the law indicates that the notice was given to your management office.
I will check it.
And they are responsible from that point to notify the residents of Overlook.
I'm referring to the notice for this hearing today. When was the first notice, Mr. Patrick, given?
It would have been early May of 2020.
So almost a year ago, there was notice. And here we are a year later, and it's not reasonable to think that a notice should be given to inform the residents that this is still ongoing?
At each meeting where there was an extension requested, we noted it, it's in the minutes, that we granted the extension for that notice to be continued on through. Doesn't give us a time limit on it.
So the board has the ability to require, at a minimum, notice be given to the residents for this hearing. The board could require this from the developer
And we required it
for this hearing,
for this hearing.
for the notice we're talking about today,
This board required.
not the one from a year ago.
You want to talk about the error that occurred? Talk to our tax assessor.
So the error is being dismissed. The residents will have to bear the brunt of that, taking that into account that this is going on over a year, that there's a number of residents that weren't even informed by error of the previous application.
No, it was by error of
Correct.
your management company.
But the point that I'm making is that we have residents.
NFI was never received. NFI was never received.
Everyone, please, we're trying to maintain a record here in decorum, okay?
So
And let me
Yeah.
I do want to say, this is not about questioning. Please make a statement. This is a preliminary hearing as to a notice issue. Make a statement. It's not a back and forth. At the end of it, the board's going to make a determination.
NFI, Overlook residents have not received a single notice, including the first one, for this application. We've checked into that. I've had numerous emails. No notice was delivered to Overlook for NFI in May last year or recently. So this piece right here, we're just discussing about the notice, right? Okay.
John Ketcherson, 38 Jade Lane. I just want to, I'm not obviously from Overlook, but I would like to point out that the last time the minutes were posted were October 2021. So if you, depending on minutes for people to determine whether or not something's been continued or not, that doesn't really work. Now, maybe somebody could drive to the building here and look at them, as part of the records, but, typically we should be looking at them online, and if they're not available, how can anybody depend on those to know when this is coming up?
Donna Schneider, 26 Meadowview. I'm not from Overlook either, but to add on to Mr. Ketcherson's comments, there are no videos up either. So you can't rely on video and you can't rely on minutes for people that live in Overlook or anywhere else in the township to find out what's going on in the meetings. So, thank you.
Judy Liptak, 47 Kyle Drive. I just want to reiterate the fact and have it in the minutes that I am also not from Overlook and I do attend these meetings. So being lumped in and just assuming that everyone that comes is from Overlook, so they've been notified, is not relevant. And about the minutes, I want to reiterate that the minutes are not posted promptly, so we cannot rely on those to give us information, and nor are these meetings videoed and videos released to the public for information. So there's a lot of lack of information given.
I am from Overlook, and we did not,
State your name, please.
Beverly Myers, we did not get a notice from NFI for the warehouses being built. Bridge, I think there was a letter that was sent, but the NFI letter was not delivered, and it went back to their lawyer's office because it was a registered letter, and we checked with the post office, and that's what happened. We never got it.
Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. And we'll proceed with the hearing.
Let the board.
Hold on, let's listen, yeah. Excuse me, Mr. Packer. Can I have a motion to continue with the hearing?
There was no notice. I'm not in favor of continuing.
Well, you still have to make a motion and vote on it, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
What's the motion
Roll call
for?
vote.
What's the motion for?
To continue the hearing.
Continue the hearing.
Member Sampson, seconded by I'll call the roll. Members Coyle,
Yes.
DeLeo,
Yes.
Lito,
No.
Mayor Mengucci,
No.
Vice Chairman Sampson,
No.
Chairman Beverly.
Yes. 3-3.
The motion does not carry. Now, what my noting that, and noting that I think that the board's concerned in all fairness for a jurisdictional issue, and recognizing that this is not the appellant's fault, or the applicant's fault by any stretch of the imagination, it may be appropriate to try and do a special meeting for the benefit of the applicant, and that this board will undertake to rectify the notice issue so that it's not done at the applicant's expense. As a matter of fairness, that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's up to the board. I want to be sure that everybody's rights are preserved in the process.
Sounds fair enough.
Do I hear a motion to do that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, Beth?
What's the motion for?
Or
special
trying to have a
meeting.
special meeting.
And that this board will undertake to provide appropriate notice and double check the notice with the tax assessor.
And is that the entire notice, or is it
I'm going to do the entire notice.
the entire notice? Okay. The entire certified list.
Yes.
And the motion is by who?
Mr. Mengucci. Mr. Mengucci made the,
Mayor?
Yeah.
Seconded.
By Jim.
All right, let's roll call that. So. Members Coyle,
Yes.
DeLeo,
Yes.
Lito,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Sampson,
Yes.
Chairman Van Vliet.
Yes.
And I do want to apologize to the applicant. It was not the applicant's fault.
I do, I just, I appreciate the board's concerns, and, I'm happy to accept the judgment of the board, but I do want to state for the record my disappointment, because I do know, not think, I know that the law is on our side, that we could have proceeded tonight, and it would have been sustained, any challenge. And that looking at the delays that we've been subject to, when we filed our amended application in November, and it took, then a conflict was discovered, and then that took, I'm just saying in neutral, I know the board's been acting, in good faith, and certainly it's always treated me fairly, but, somebody looking from the outside might say, hey, this is starting to appear obstructive. So let's just hope we get it right this time, and that we can proceed at the next meeting, and hopefully go as long as we have to get a vote, so we can
That's fair,
conclude
Mr.
this
Peck.
saga.
I do want to take somewhat of an exception to it. The board certainly has not been dilatory. There's been multiple requests, even beforehand, for adjournments, especially with access concerns. There was subsequent notice required because of a new lot being configured for access. So there was subsequent notice required because it was a new lot added. So,
which again, we're not going to relitigate.
I understand, the decision's been made. But
that was one of many points.
But Mr. Peck, you've been here at this board every meeting. And you can't, I don't think that the record should be reflective of the fact that this board is trying to somewhat hamstring this application.
And I said that the board has treated me fairly. I just said that, But again, and as you indicated, I've been here at every meeting, and the public could have been here at every meeting when it was carried again and again and again, as the Supreme Court has said is their obligation. So hopefully we can agree on a date and
Well, why don't we talk about that? Does
Do you have any Wednesdays free or Mondays free? None?
I'm out of town, I don't return till the 21st.
of what, May?
Yeah.
Well, we can substitute somebody to run the machine there, right? So, we can take care of that aspect, I think. So, we can get a substitute clerk, secretary. I don't know when the room is occupied. I know that the zoning board meets the second Wednesday of every month. I don't know when the council
meets the first Wednesday.
Wednesday.
The third Wednesday of every month is generally free.
That'll only be a week prior.
Yeah, that
to
does
meeting
really
anyway.
help. Let's see, today is Beth, how long does it take to get a publication done? For an affidavit back? Do you know?
you need 2 weeks.
I need at least 2 weeks to get it in.
All right, so that puts us out to
This is the May 11th.
May 11th. Is there anything on the zoning board?
No, not yet.
Maybe at the zoning board?
11th doesn't work for us.
11th doesn't work.
I'm not good on the 18th. I already have 2 conflicts. Is the 17th workable?
That's up to the board. It would be fine from my vantage point.
Next Saturday?
Yeah, 17th.
Oh, that's the committee meeting. Oh, right.
Yeah, that's Tuesday.
That's Tuesday, the 17th.
That's why you might as well have it on Wednesday.
17th, no good.
17th, no good?
Yeah, so you might as well wait till the 25th.
How about the 18th doesn't work?
Can we do a Zoom meeting on a Saturday? I've done it before, man. 17 might work.
You're not getting me on Saturday.
You're really good. You should be
Or they want to go?
I do have a conflict on the 17th, but I will abate that conflict and get my.
Okay, well,
myself here.
if that works for everybody else, I think that could be a go.
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm not available.
You're not available on something? You're not?
Just do it on the 25th.
Yeah,
That's another month.
That's our next.
25th is the actual meeting, yes.
Just come in early.
Thursday.
How about Friday the 13th?
No,
Auspicious date.
I can't make that.
No problem.
Yeah. 17th? You said you're not going on the 17th, right?
He's not.
Well,
Just cancel the birthday party, that's all.
His birthday. Oh.
No, we can't do that. Yeah, we'll bring you a cake.
Please, I don't need a cake. Okay, if it has to be the 17th, we'll do the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Are all the board members available on the 17th?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll publish that for the 17th?
Yes, and I'll take care of the
Are the professionals
publication.
available on the 17th?
Yes, the 17th is fine by me.
okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, apologies for the board now.
No, I understand.
I really do. All right, so the benefit, I guess if we can just adjourn the hearing at this point, do a motion to carry to further notice that will be provided, and then I can just make an announcement.
Any motion?
Yeah.
Any motion? I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Can I
That's
have
roll
the
call.
words to that motion?
Yeah, the motion is to carry this hearing to May 17th, which is Tuesday at 7 PM in this location. Notice will be provided by the board.
Motion by Mayor Mengucci, seconded by
Polito.
Member Polito. I'll roll call that. Members Coyle,
yes.
DeLeo,
Yes.
Polito,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Sampson.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Genoway.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so for the members of the public, the hearing is not going to be proceeding tonight based upon a notice to fact. It's going to be carried to May 17th, which is Tuesday at 7 PM in this location. Notice will be provided by the board. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
No.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
I would like to talk to you afterwards too, Mr. Beck.
Okay. Now we'll open it to public comment on any subject you would like to talk about. Yes, ma'am. I recognized her first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Right? Come on up.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I do want to speak to the agenda item, even though we're not having the hearing, I still want to speak to it.
That's not.
I can't?
Can't do
It's
that.
not.
Okay, so then I'm just going to make a statement of, ask you about C variances. So, Judy Liptak, 47 Kyle Drive. So, my understanding of the variance is the application for the variance is the applicant has to prove hardship.
The what?
Hardship. They have to prove that, then explain to me, if I have the wrong word, how a C variance works.
C variance.
Ma'am, we're not here to educate the public about how C variances work and how everything works. If you'd like to talk to an attorney, feel free, but that's not our.
You are the town attorney and I'm a townsperson.
I'm not the town attorney, I'm the planning board attorney.
The planning
okay?
board attorney.
Right, and there is a law.
Wow,
it's-
wow, you're really rude.
I'm not
was
trying to
not
be
rude to
rude.
you, but you're
I'm not
telling
trying to
me
be
that
rude.
you're not educating me. So then that's fine. I know that a C variance does have something to do with hardship and that the applicant needs to prove that hardship. I'm looking at this board, I come to these meetings, and you know my opposition for warehouses and the cluster of warehouses that are being inundated in this area. Not just in Lopatcong, but this whole area. But I'm speaking to the ones that are here in Lopatcong now. In the past, I've stood before you and I've spoken repeatedly against overdevelopment of warehouses and repercussions of those warehouses. At times, both the planning board and the council have seemed frustrated by my points. Pictures that I've shared, which I've commented that I will continue to keep coming to these meetings because there needs to be some real action by this board and by our town council. The continued desecration of our land needs to stop. We need better solutions and we need to protect our valuable resources in our community and the people that live here. So tonight I'm asking you to take in consideration everything you've heard over the past few months from the residents that come here all the time. There are no hardships for any developer. The hardships that I see are for the citizens of Lopatcong. They must now live with the negative consequences of continued development of warehouses and other heavy commercial industries that have been brought into this town. The overdevelopment of warehouses is causing the actual hardships here. No hardship for the developers, no hardship for anyone other than its citizens of Lopatcong.
And these are all fair points. They should be brought up during the hearing.
But I'm speaking to public comment. I'm not
That's
speaking
fine.
to
But this board
anything.
is sitting as a quasi-judicial body.
Okay, so I'm not speaking. I'll speak to the hearing, at the time, but now I'm speaking as a public comment. Corrected that when I first started to speak. The negative impacts on the citizens' daily lives in Lopatcong have already had their we've already had our fair share of warehouses and an asphalt plant. We need no more. We need to focus on smart growth in this town that attracts corporate businesses, not heavy industrial companies. The poor people in Overlook are going to be looking at warehouses out their window, something I didn't think they bargained for when they bought in that development. But you all have the power to say no and to stop this. The overdevelopment of warehouses is an underregulated area. The DEP, the DOT, laws, regulations, and legislation have not yet caught up to this overdevelopment throughout the state of New Jersey. I've been on the phone with all of them. But today, Lopatcong, little Lopatcong, today, tomorrow, whenever, you guys can make it stop here. Don't be intimidated by lawyers and the rhetoric and the developers that bring an entourage. Fight for Lopatcong. Fight hard for Lopatcong. Stop this overdevelopment. There's grave impacts on our roads. Current tractor-trailer traffic, dump truck traffic, increased safety concerns, the cost for increased wear and tear on our roads, bridges, and intersections, all can be stopped with you. Negative impact on the environment here in Lopatcong. Increased air pollution, river and stream contamination from runoff, increasing impervious cover throughout our town. There was a study done in 2016 that was presented to the town about how we can remediate impervious coverage, how we can stop the asphalt and all the parking lots and what we can do environmentally to make this a better town. It's in your hands. You guys can stop that. There are many unseen consequences which we all are living through for safety issues. We're going to have a decrease in property values, an increase in crime. There's going to be parking throughout the town. There's an increase in litter, road wear and tear, trucks with their hazards on parked at sides of roads, overnight parking and staging of trucks. You can put an end to it. There will be a need eventually for increased public services like fire, rescue, police, and equipment for those services. Taxes will go up. You can control that. The traffic studies. We all know they're misleading traffic studies with unreliable and underreported findings. This area will be inundated with significant increase in truck traffic. Trucks will be in our neighborhoods. We see it now. We ask you to protect Lopatcong Township citizens, protect them and their way of life. You can stop it. Again, I implore you to stop the carnage. Warehouses, heavy commercial businesses all continue to negatively impact our town and forever change the way we live. Lopatcong will become a barren industrial wasteland of asphalt, trucks, pollution, traffic, and crime. Our town is being robbed of its pastoral landscapes, and our easy way of living has forever been changed. And tonight, and in the future, you can stop that. I have to tell you, yesterday I was almost killed on Route 22 coming off of 78. No exaggeration. I was coming off the highway. There was a truck in the middle lane. It was by the light by Raymore and Flanagan. Truck in the middle lane. I was in the left lane. Another car in front of me in the left lane. Truck went into the intersection and made a left-hand turn. The Volkswagen Bug in front of me slammed their brakes on. I put mine on. Thankfully, I saw what was coming. If someone was behind me, they probably would have hit me. I would have hit the car in front of me, and it would have went under that tractor trailer. It's a miracle no one was killed. It's a miracle that no one coming this way on 78 was killed when it crossed across that traffic. Every day, there's an incident with a tractor trailer. Every day. And when I brought that incident up to people, it wasn't a surprise. They too have seen that. They've seen by the light, by Walmart, the next light, tractor trailers making U-turns. If we continue to build warehouses, we're going to continue to invite this type of unsafe roads, unsafe for our citizens. But you guys can stop all that. It's in your power. It's in your hands. But you're laughing, but it is.
Well, I mean, that incident you just reiterated is in Lopatcong Township. Maybe you should go there and instruct them to do it too.
There's the problem, Mr. Van Fleet. You need to work together. The towns, I came before this board and spoke about working as a coalition and working together. Because what one town does affects many towns. Many, many towns. And we have to work together. We're a community. We're not individual boroughs. We need to work and think like communities. Yes, that was in Lopatcong, who, by the way, has signs up to stop parking in the mall, and I see them with trucks pulled over quite frequently. But the problem is we don't know where that truck came from, right? It could have come from anywhere. It could have come from one of our warehouses. It could have came from one of the warehouses in Lehigh County. But just because one town does it and it was in another town doesn't mean we're not all responsible. We do have an effect. Our actions affect many. So I'm hoping that the planning board considers everything they've heard over the months of testimony from the townspeople, not just the townspeople in Overlook, but the town overall. I would like you to think about what smart growth is for this town and think about how we can attract businesses and corporations that are not heavy industrial businesses and corporations. Corporations that could become attractive to families, because this town is built on family and tradition. And if we can't attract families that will stay here, and we can't attract families to keep their children want to stay here, there won't be those generations, Mayor, of families anymore. you're going to strip that away, and we're going to become a bedroom community where people come and then they go. And I don't think, that's why you're mayor here, I don't think that. I think you want a true traditional town that we've all come and attracted to come here, love and enjoy. Come to love and enjoy. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Jim Dusky, Deerhaven Terrace Overlook. Just a question. Mr. Peck mentioned that Bridge has received approval for their application. I just want to confirm that Bridge is still in preliminary approval, still waiting for the sewer capacity issue to be resolved.
Yeah, Bridge has received a preliminary site plan approval. It has not received final site plan approval.
And no plan hearing or final approval?
Not at this time that I'm aware of, and this board doesn't deal with the sewer stuff, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what the status is.
Thank you.
So I had a statement ready if NFI was going to be presenting John Ketcherson, 38 Jade Lane. So I'm going to strip out the NFI and just kind of make a statement about the impact of the warehouses on Lopatcong. Then I want to move on to a specific property that I have some questions about and some of the zoning things. So, well, so they were going to come to seek relief from some of the zoning regulations. But what about the Lopatcong residents? Where's our relief from these mega warehouses and everything they bring? Where's our relief from the truck traffic, the noise and air pollution, and the garbage that trucks leave behind, including pee bottles? And yes, the pee bottle's still at the end of Strikers Road. It's been there since March 18th, at least. Where's our relief from the illegally operating truck stops? Where's our relief from truckers making tight turns on roads where they shouldn't be and running over citizens' lawns, as I've seen happen on the corner of Lincoln and Belvedere roads? On my way home from ShopRite today, I was behind a truck on Strikers Road. I was making a right on 57 East. When the light turned green, the only vehicle that made it through that light before it turned red was that truck. And the reason is that intersection is just not made for a truck to make a right-hand turn. And I have a picture of a truck making a right-hand turn out of Strikers Road onto 57 and going all the way into the turn lane of the oncoming traffic. That's extremely dangerous. I was headed to Home Depot on Saturday, driving down 519 from Route 57. A trucker, who was an 18-wheeler, had ignored all of the low clearance signs and was attempting to turn around in front of the horse farm. Mr. Mayor, I did send you a picture of that. And I called the Lopatcong Police Department because, number one, the guy needed help. Number two, I wanted to make sure that they were aware of what's going on. I don't know if he was ticketed or not. I was going to ask that at the council meeting. So where's our relief from that? In the past, it was mentioned at a council meeting that a previously posted video on a Nextdoor app of an 18-wheeler backing up in front of Overlook was, quote-unquote, obviously not from a Lopatcong warehouse because of the load that the guy was carrying. But does it matter? It doesn't take a genius to realize that the more trucks you put on the road, the more of these type of mishaps are going to happen. It's just a matter of probability. In support of passing Ordinance 20-12, which changes ROM zoning to exclude warehouses, the town council listed some very compelling reasons for banning the development of warehouses in Lopatcong. I really wish I could read the council's own words regarding the negative impact of the warehouses on our community. But unfortunately, the Lopatcong Township website was down for most of the day today, and I couldn't copy that information out. So now we're being told at the council meetings, that the warehouses will help keep taxes down. This is a short-sighted viewpoint, and it doesn't align with Ordinance 20-12. And it doesn't consider that the more warehouses there are, the more garbage, traffic, accidents, and pollution there will be. making our town an undesirable place to live, driving our property values down, and in the end, it'll do more harm than good. So I'm just going to leave these pictures. And then I do want to, because this question has been asked multiple times at the planning board meeting and the zoning, the council meetings, and it's still not clear in my mind and some of the other folks that have been attending these meetings for the past 8 or 9 months. So regarding the Petersburg Mall, how does, and I just kind of like to go through this and then maybe we can go back and get the actual answers. How does Ordinance 20-12, which excludes warehouses from the ROM zone, and the change to the property, that property to property in need of redevelopment, affect what can be built there? So does the designation of the property as one in need of redevelopment override 2012 and 22-03, which bans truck stops? Or does the, what overrides what? So if the designation of a property in need of redevelopment overrides those ordinances, doesn't that open up all of Route 22 corridor in Lopatcong? Because a lot of that was deemed the same thing. Doesn't that open those properties up to mega warehouses and truck stops as well? So according to Katrina Campbell on March 2nd at the council meeting, in response to a question of whether a warehouse can be built on the mall property, she said no. Maybe a parking lot could be built on the Lopatcong side of the mall property for a warehouse, but a warehouse cannot be built. Yet, according to the Pohatcong council meetings, and yes, I attended the last Pohatcong council meeting, their attorney had advised that he had a discussion with their planner, and he said, Lopatcong has approved their section of the mall property for redevelopment. Mr. Kiley advised that Lopatcong is okay with the concept of a warehouse project for the property, as had previously been discussed. And it says he was not sure, but thought the original concept plan showed the warehouse attached to Kohl's. He added that it might even include the area behind the mall. And then again, in February 15th, 2022 Pohatcong council meeting, they said, Lopatcong has actually approved their part of the mall property as an area in need of redevelopment, and their objection to warehouses has faded. This is part of the meeting minutes for Pohatcong. The redevelopment of a mall is a go. He referenced the sketch that had previously been circulated that showed the warehouses to the right of Kohl's, and that it seems to be the way it's going. He was hoping we can get some more development on our side because from that schematic, more is in Lopatcong. So the question is, can the mall be developed into a warehouse or not? What overrides what? Do our ordinances override that property in need of redevelopment, or does the property in need of redevelopment override our existing ordinances? And that's a question, so I appreciate an answer.
Wish I had one for you.
Well, you guys, nobody's going to answer.
This is a public comment hearing. If the chairman wants me to answer, I'll answer.
Free to do that.
This is not before this board. There has to be, the only thing that this board has done is undertake a study to determine an area to be in need of redevelopment.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that has to happen in that redevelopment area has to be done through a redevelopment plan.
Okay.
That has to get ratified. It's not part of this board.
Does that not have to follow our ordinances though?
No, it does not.
Okay,
A redevelopment plan can be drafted as a redevelopment plan that is specific for that redevelopment area. That is beyond the purview of this board, and we can't speak to it.
Okay, so the answer basically is that yes, a warehouse can be built there. Yes, a truck stop can be built there because it could override the, I'm not saying that it will, but it can be because it can override the existing town ordinances.
Theoretically, a nuclear energy producing.
I appreciate the answer. that's eye-opening, and it really opens up the entire 22 corridor to more mega warehouses and truck stops. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Barbara Horn, 119 Marlborough Circle. I keep my comments brief and hopefully on point. I am a resident of Overlook, but I think it is clear, and I'm glad there appears to still be some representation here from tonight's agenda. Clearly, focusing just on the residents of Overlook as being very much opposed to the building is not really on point. I think there has been at least equal representation of both here tonight and throughout at least the past year of residents from other areas of the town. Obviously, most of us who live near and around the Strikers Road area are most impacted by this. And I would just like to really kind of state the obvious, which is that the Strikers Road location, we already have one warehouse built, and we've enumerated, and I will not go back over it, all of the difficulties that this has already in short order brought on our community. Now we're looking at not one, but two other applicants almost on top, literally on top of each other. The Strikers Road location is absolutely and undeniably the wrong place, whether zoning notwithstanding. It is not the right place for even the one warehouse, let alone three. And just because something can be constructed there does not mean that it should be. Thank you.
Patty Lautenbach, 919 Barnell Way. Just a quick question. I know you're not allowed to speak on active litigation. However, it is a matter of public record, the dates that were given by the courts by which the case needs to proceed, and one of those was that discovery needs to be done by April, I believe it was 27th. I'm just wondering if we're on target or if an extension was requested.
I couldn't tell you, I'm not involved in the litigation.
Anyone else?
Which litigation are you talking about?
The NFI versus the planning board and the town council.
There's special counsel, so.
And they don't keep, I mean, you're being sued, you don't keep up with the court case?
Well, we keep up with the court cases, but again.
The court gave a deadline of the end of April for discovery.
Does not have a lawsuit against us per se. They have it against the town council.
Oh, then it's Bridge that has it against both of you? Because Bridge, one of them has it against both of you.
I'm not sure about where those, it actually sits on with the court there right now. I mean, I don't know if they're going to withdraw it or not withdraw it. I'm not privileged to those communications between your attorneys, so.
Huh. So you don't know if you're on target or not?
We do have a lawsuit against us by the owner of the property that NFI wants to purchase.
Yeah, I believe that one was dismissed, withdrawn.
No.
So.
That one
Okay.
is still an active case.
All right, thank you.
Donna Schneider, 26 Meadowview. I know we're not talking about the hearing, but I just have a comment of NFI having a landlocked piece of land and needing Berry Plastics in order for their project to continue. As part of a C variance, the hardship, if it's self-imposed, then the variance should not be made available to them. This seems like a self-imposed, self-inflicted hardship.
We have had, just a clarification, Donna.
Yeah.
We have had no testimony on that yet.
I know, I'm just making a comment. I'm not asking you to comment. I'm just,
We can't
right, I'm making,
speculate on.
I know, I'm making a
speculation.
comment for people who you can't educate on what a C variance is, So I'm making this comment, whether it be, I'm making it to you, but there's other people in this room that could probably benefit from knowing what a C variance or a bulk variance is. But I understand that. I have another thing. There's an NJDOT truck traffic grant that was just P-Berg, allowing P-Berg to send tractor trailers to Route 519, South Main, and 22. So on top of what is originally happening here, Phillipsburg will now be shifting all of their stuff this way as well. So we will be inundated with even more trucks than what we currently are inundated with. I also want to bring up, I know I brought it up to council meeting, but I don't know who to actually address this to, but there is a porta potty in front of Berry Plastics. It has been there for quite some time. It's terrible. It's disgusting to see a porta potty in front of a building that shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be there. They have plumbing. They shouldn't have a porta potty outside for the truck drivers. The last time I was driving by, the door was open and the guy's pants were half down. So, I have kids in the car. I don't want to see that. They don't want to see that. Nobody should have to see that. I think it's an awful thing, and I don't know how to get rid of this thing. So how do we get rid of a porta potty?
I have no idea.
Contact the zoning officer, I believe.
The zoning officer? Thank you for that. When we contact the zoning officer, this has been made known also at the town council meeting, we get some rather snippy comments back from the zoning officer. I will contact him. If I get a snippy answer, I'm going to come contact you because I don't think this guy should be given snippy answers. I'm just going to say he does not give nice answers to people in this township. And we have an email from him showing what he says to people.
I have no direct control over the zoning officer.
I know you don't, but he does not give proper information to the residents, and we do pay him for his service. Okay, I will address him about the porta potty. Also, I know I've asked about solar, and has anyone heard from solar? Nobody, okay. Is it true that anything that needs to be done with solar goes through the zoning board? Are they the sole owners of giving a D variance?
For a D variance, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
not sure.
They will require a D variance based on the property, right?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
The state has deemed that a lot of the solar farms and stuff like that as a beneficial use.
That is correct.
We cannot ban them from building there.
Right, no one's saying to ban them, but they will require a D variance. And even though they've given them the positive of having an inherent benefit to the town, there are also negatives which can very much outweigh the positive. So it's not a slam dunk deal that they're coming in and they want to do this. There is a lot of other things that can happen and a lot of negative testimony that can happen to override their positive that was given by the governor. So I just want to make sure they would be presenting to the zoning board. They would go right to zoning?
I don't
The
know.
application?
I don't know under what
Any
jurisdiction
kind of
that they're going to come
variance
from.
that would have to go to the Board of Adjustment.
Okay, so they would take care of the zoning. Okay, and then if they make a decision there, do they have to present it to council and they have to make a decision, or it's done only at zoning?
I'm not an attorney, but I understand that once they make a decision, it's not reversible by anybody.
Okay, so no other board,
Except the court.
Well, the court.
right,
yeah.
no other board in the township can override anything that the zoning board makes.
Basically, that's what I understand. So.
Okay. I also just want to, as a comment, with the solar, I received an email from a local realtor, as have many of my neighbors, saying, yeah, this is a done deal. The commissioner said, this is a done deal. That solar farm is absolutely going there, and you should consider selling your home. We talk about, Judy Liptak just talked about keeping people and wanting people to stay and wanting their kids to stay and their kids wanting to stay. To tell people they should start selling their homes before you're ready to sell your home, it's kind of a terrible thing. And then they're listening. People are listening because they're saying, well, the commissioners are saying it. So it must be true. And people are contemplating putting their homes up for sale on Meadowview Drive and the circle and behind us, where the solar farm would encompass 190 homes or 100 and however many homes are around that.
I don't know how much of
So-
that is rhetoric and how much it's, a sales promotion.
That is how they get paid, so.
Of course it is, but not just, I'm just telling you that this is what is going on. There are scare tactics because solar is an unknown. The governor really put a twist on all of this, and it's an unknown for everyone. But people are panicking in the area, and they're looking to sell their homes. So, we want to keep people here. People aren't ready to sell, and they're looking to sell. So, that's what's happening. Perhaps, somebody may want to reach out to commissioners and find out why they're doing that. This is our township, and
Which commissioners are you referring to?
I really don't want to say names on the record because I don't want to be sued, and I don't want any repercussions coming to me because I have to live here. So I don't want any repercussions coming to me. There's only 3 of them, you can talk,
Okay,
they can be spoken to, but I'm not doing that on the record. So, I've learned from that.
Again, we have no control over those.
I absolutely, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just letting you know, I'm just making it aware to the boards in this township, to the residents in this township, that these are the things that are happening, because there are really no direct answers with a lot of these questions. So people speculate and they get scared, just like, the warehouses. Everybody is getting mixed information. I attended that Powhatan Township meeting, and they said, absolutely, a warehouse can go on the Lopatcong property. So whatever and actually our attorneys told him, yeah, Lopat's good to go, green light, it's on the record. Our attorney told them that it's good to go. Lopatcong is good to go. And that's disturbing. That's really disturbing to hear, to go to another township and our attorneys at that township telling them that we're good to go when we have lawsuits, we have all kinds of things going on with warehouses. And that's what our attorneys are telling Powhatan Township. Our township attorneys, let me just clear, not Mr. Bryce, our township attorneys are at the Powhatan meeting telling them we are good to go for a warehouse at the mall property. And that's really, and here I am, I go to the Powhatan meeting, and I say, no, that's not right. I talked to our township attorney just the last meeting, and she told me directly there is not a warehouse that can go on that property. And I asked that question. Even though it's redevelopment and we have an ordinance banning warehouses, the answer was still no warehouse can go on there. I go to Powhatan and say, that's not true. Our attorneys told us no. And they said, they can be built. It doesn't matter. They can be built. It's redevelopment. It's going to be built there. So it's just disheartening, because everywhere you go, you kind of don't get a straight answer. So we try our best here to come up and get answers. And, I know a lot of times it's the wrong board, it's the wrong person, but, eventually somebody's going to have to give this township the correct answers and the definitive answers, and not just, it could be, it couldn't be, it might not, it's just very frustrating on our end, as I know it is on your end, and there's only so much you can tell people based on other things, but it just gets very frustrating for the residents of the township. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none?
I got a number of things that I'm not gonna. Robert Bruce, 11 Harwich Road. I've got a number of things I'm not gonna burn you with it at this point, because I understand, as Mr. Bryce said, you're a quasi-judicial body, and so there are other venues for some of this stuff. I want to thank Mr. Bryce. I believe I wouldn't have, you opened the comment, even though you didn't have to open the comment, after Mr. Peck spoke.
I want to comment on what Mr. Peck spoke, which was basically that, correct me if I'm wrong, it is a legal question, a judicial question, regarding the fact that apparently somebody testified here tonight, a resident testified of Overlook tonight, that there was no notice given regarding NFI, that a registered letter was sent and it was returned. And I don't think I have that wrong. Anybody, did I have that wrong? So Mr. Pack is hanging his hat on what's legal. And it's a shame if what's legal is totally frickin' unethical. If you get a return receipt letter that was supposed to be received and returned and understood as received, if they're not under a legal obligation, they're under an ethical obligation to get back and make sure that they got that notice. And if they didn't get that notice, that's a shame and a crime if it's legally going through. Calm down a little bit. Now, again, not everything. Morning Call had a story today about the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission. I get the impression that the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission is sort of an oversight board, perhaps the equivalent of a South Warren Planning Commission that might involve multiple townships, of which we have 6 going to that Phillipsburg High School, all these surrounding communities. That's my impression. Correct me if I'm wrong. It ends up saying that the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission acts as an advisor for communities, but cannot block plans. Whether these warehouses are built will be up to Upper Macungie officials, by which I tend to think that the equivalent would be if we had a South Warren Planning Commission. They could advise on behest of all of the communities, but it would be up to Lopatcong or Powhatan or Alpha or Phillipsburg to actually make a decision on whether it gets built. They can make recommendations. What were the recommendations? This is a disaster waiting to happen. It's a disaster waiting to happen. The traffic problems here are insurmountable, in my opinion. The transportation impact study that was done was woefully inadequate. These are people that are somebody's mom or dad or brother or sister. So I hope the appropriate parties, which I take it to be the individual townships, are listening to us when we make travel recommendations. Because this is going to put a significant burden on the motoring public. And that's the end of that tune. I don't think I have anything else. So thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Roger Frank, 276 Bald Eagle Drive. I'm on the other side. I'm across the highway. I live here, but I do a lot of stuff in Phillipsburg. And one of the things I brought up to, I'm also the commissioner of the Historic Commission of Phillipsburg. And one of the things I'm asking the town council and the people that I know there is why are we not doing some kind of entertainment center or what happens if family comes in or meetings come in, we go across to Pomfret, we go across the river to Easton. If you look at Easton, you'll see how successful they are, and they're not talking warehouses. Mayor Panto just got a chunk of money for doing things in the town. The Da Vinci Center is going to be coming in. There's something happening all the time. And one of the things that we are lacking here is having a hotel, not a motel, a hotel with a conference center, because I know the taxes for hotels is very high and it costs a lot of money for that. But I think the terms of what we're going to ask these people when they come in is, what else do you have besides making a warehouse? That's all I have to say. And I'm from Frederick, Maryland. We were in a hole, and look, it's like the number 1, number 2 tourist place to go to. And downtown Frederick was horrible back in the day. So just a thought, if we can think about that too. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion of the meeting tonight and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we are adjourned. I'm gonna get out of this.